What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where every single week I, Graham Giuseppe Matthews, break down all the original programming that I watch on the WWE Network. And of course, as is the case with every other Monday, today we're talking Total Bellas, Season 3, Episode 4, the Bella Comeback, focusing all around the Royal Rumble, the 2018 pay-per-view, and specifically the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match. So to kick off the episode, we have Brie and Nikki giving us a rundown of what the Women's Royal Rumble is all about, the rules, how it differs from the men, and how it's a historic match, the first of its kind. They discuss their training, and Brie's been in the ring here and there. I think she ended the last season of Total Bella's training, or the last season of Total Divas, I can't remember. But it was around that point. No, it must have been the last season of Total Divas, because Total Bellas is when she gave birth. So it must have been Total Divas where she got back in the ring, starting to get familiar, with the ropes again and stuff like that. Because remember, before the 2018 Royal Rumble back in January, Brie had not been in the ring since WrestleMania 32 in April of 2016. So it's been almost 2 years since Brie has stepped in a ring, for an official match. Whereas with Nikki, she's been wrestling here and there, but she wrestled her semi-retirement match at WrestleMania 33 and has also not competed since. So we'll get more into her training in a bit. But they arrive at Nikki and John's house, so Nikki can, I assume to pick up her things, but they do cut back to her at the house a little later on in the episode, and it looks like she's staying there. So she might be sleeping there while John's away. And he leaves her a card and a bouquet of flowers and stuff like that. We see one excerpt of the card. I'm not sure what else it said. I'm not sure if he left that before they broke up or when they broke up or after they broke up. I'm not sure. But anyway, I guess she stays there. She does forget her keys to the house in San Diego, so she has to have John's friend Rob come and open the house for her. So Brie's there with her, so she's not all alone. She's feeling so many emotions and memories of what could be gone forever, in her words, between her and John. And like I said, he left her a card, and I guess it has some significance, but we don't really get to know what it says. She doesn't comment on it, so she doesn't cry or anything. I'm sure it was left after they broke up, but whatever. I'm not sure where John is at this point. Anyway, so Mama Bella and John Laurinaitis decide they do not want two houses anymore, so they move permanently to Tampa, to a house in Tampa, Florida. They're visited by Brie and Brian, and Mama Bella, after Brie brings it up, she expresses interest in going not really back to school, but in being a broadcaster, and specifically a weather woman. So Brie sets up some appointment for her to kind of get that dream out of the way. Because apparently Mama Bella, that was what she wanted to do before she had Brie and Nikki, and she couldn't go back to school to kind of pursue that dream. So Brie gets her that opportunity to explore that endeavor. In the meantime, the Bellas train together, but Brie feels like something's off. She's not really feeling the Brie mode by this point, and Brie feels like people will be disappointed by her appearance, that she's not the same Brie that she was 2 years ago. She had a kid. She doesn't have the same stomach, that she won't be showing off. She feels like people will be let down, that it's not the same Brie Bella that they remember. Going back to Mama Bella, she practices making clouds for whatever reason, even though that's not what weather women do. I'm talking like the weather person when they predict the weather and they fucking go on the green screen. That's what she wants to do. Why she starts making clouds, I have no idea. I'm glad she's fascinated by that, but I'm not sure why that's, why she's doing that. But anyway, she also practices pointing because that's what she has to do as a weather woman. Anyway, Nikki and Brie also sit down. They talk about how Nikki was back in Orlando recently for the first time since WrestleMania 33, and while there, she was asked about the proposal, which took place at WrestleMania 33, where I was also in attendance. She was talking about people were bringing up to her the proposal and how they were there for it and preparing for a wedding and getting tips, and it kind of flooded her with all these memories and stuff that she really doesn't want to deal with right now. And at the same time, she was also told by her doctor, the same doctor that did surgery on her neck a few years prior, saying that he really did not feel comfortable with her being in that first ever Women's Royal Rumble because of her neck. He didn't flat out say, "I'm not clearing you, you shouldn't be in it," but he expressed concern, I guess might be the right word, for her being in that match, given the condition of her neck. Now, it was really hanging on by a thread in her last match to date at that point at WrestleMania 33. Anyway, so they focus on the Rumble and nothing else, not the injury, not John. They're fully focused on getting back in the ring in time for the Royal Rumble. Meanwhile, Mama Bella gets a script for the Weather Woman audition the following day, and she feels like she's having an anxiety attack. She's having a meltdown because she can't handle it. Brian jokes that her gimmick could be like the sexy grandma that bungles her lines, and that can be her claim to fame, which obviously really doesn't help Mama Bella's confidence level. It doesn't exactly give her a confidence boost. Anyway, so she's worried about what she's going to wear, and she wants to be cool, and she wants to be hip. And in confiding in that to Brie feels like, and she doesn't tell this to Mama Bella, but rather in the separate interview to the camera, she feels like she can relate to her mom here. Because in going back to WWE for the first time in the ring in almost 2 years, she wants to be the cool, hip girl and not be left behind and kind of fit in again and not be seen as, the mom that had a baby and now is coming back for a one-off match. So she also feels insecure at that moment. So Brian trains with Brie and Nikki. Things don't go great, but they give it their all. Brie sees the Vegas bets, and apparently, how they do like the bets on who's going to win what match, which is so fucking stupid with professional wrestling considering it's scripted, but people are dumb. They'll put money on anything, so whatever. Anyway, so she sees the Vegas bets, and I don't remember what the bets were going into the Rumble, but she sees that Nikki's in the lead. And I'm thinking, okay, that's not too far out of the ordinary. I'm pretty sure all money was on Asuka, but anyway, to my recollection. And she said Nikki's in the lead with like 1,000 or something. And those were her exact words, with 1,000 or something. That doesn't mean that you're in the lead. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but in order to be in the lead for, a bet or whatever, it has to be in the negative, in the minus. It has to be like minus 200 or whatever, not plus. That means you're far removed from being the favorite for that match. I'm sure there was obviously money put on Nikki to win the whole thing, but I don't think anyone in their right mind thought that she was winning the first ever Women's Royal Rumble over someone like an Asuka or a Sasha Banks or a Bayley or a Nia Jax. I find that very hard to believe. Either that or she just can't fucking read bets and whatever, and Brie just has no idea what she's talking about. Anyway, the Bellas are proud of their mom when she goes into the audition to be this weather woman. She gets really, really nervous, botches pretty much almost all of her lines, but she gives it a good effort. So Nikki goes in there, try to, ease her nerves. She gives it a try. She does equally as bad, if not worse. So then Mama Bella gets back in there, and she does a lot better. She does much better the last time, and the Bellas are just proud to be a part of history. Come the first ever Women's Royal Rumble. They're kind of trying to get their mind off things and all this other stuff. But at the same time, they're proud of their mom for kind of getting it out of her system. They're not really confident that she'll be brought back with a full-time career, but they are happy that she was able to explore this endeavor and kind of give it the old college try, so to speak. So anyway, like I said, the Bellas, I kind of read ahead there by accident. I thought I wrote down Bella's proud of their mom, which they are, but I accidentally wrote down Bella's proud to be a part of history for the first ever Women's Rumble. It's also difficult for Nikki to have the John stuff on her mind, in addition to not really feeling all that comfortable in the ring, because she fears that if she gets hit in the back of the head or in the back of the neck, her career could be over forever and have some serious, health issues and stuff like that. And also she feels that she can't go to John for advice for the first time. He's backstage. She sees him. They don't interact on this episode. I think at one point at the end, John Cena does go up to Mama Bella real quick and says, oh, they did a great job, blah, 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 and that was it. So we don't see any interaction between John and Nikki, which is weird because they did interact backstage at Raw 25, but apparently not at the Rumble. At least not on this episode. So anyway, yeah, she's got all of that going through her head, but she's excited to be a part of the match. We are shown highlights of the Women's Rumble, which was great. I thought the men's version this year was better, but the Women's Rumble, with it being the first ever, I thought was great. Nikki misses that adrenaline rush of going out there, getting a great reaction, feeling the energy of the audience. She misses that. She hasn't felt that since WrestleMania 33. And then Brie's kind of like, oh, she got a great reaction. We'll see how they react to me. So she goes out there does a great job too, has an awesome time, she enjoys herself, but she also wants all the moms in the audience to know that it doesn't matter what your age is or what you look like, you should be comfortable in your own body no matter what you look like. They call it such a surreal moment to be a part of the match. Asuka did put Nikki's neck, that's a tongue twister, Nikki's neck in a weird position for the finish when she kind of like took her legs and wrapped her legs around her neck and then kind of flipped over the top rope for the victory. But, Nikki was fine. She survived that. No one was hurt. Asuka's a professional. She had it handled. But anyway, like I said, she was specifically happy to be a part of history. Nikki, that is. She holds a toast to all the other women that were a part of the match. And then afterward, we see the aftermath of the Bellas doing a Birdie B shoot with some woman named Rachel. A Birdie B photo shoot. And Bray talks about being inspired by her fans. She's still riding this high from the first ever Women's Rumble, and she's proud of her body and feels that other women should be as well, and that she can kind of serve as an example for other women that are going through that same thing of being ashamed of their body and that they shouldn't be. So anyway, we end the episode on that high note, that kind of great moral message there to close out the show. I thought that was great. But yeah, Season 3, Episode 4, the Bella Comeback Edition of Total Bellas, I thought was very good. Again, focusing on the Women's Royal Rumble and some John stuff, kind of interspliced in between, which was great. But being at the pay-per-view, again, kind of brought back memories of my experience from the weekend, which was amazing earlier this year. And I think Season 3, Episode 5, coming up next week, we'll be focusing on the aftermath and John and Nikki finally sitting down to talk about the breakup and what's kind of on their minds respectively. What's on their minds respectively between the two of them. John wants to have her kids, but she just kind of wants to be a mom. Or he had said, I want you to be my wife forever. I will agree to marry you. But she said, I just kind of want to be a mom. And we ended on that note. So interested to see where things go from there. But again, guys, thank you for checking out the show. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Of course, WWE Network and Chill. We got 2 new episodes every single week now. We got one on Mondays, reviewing Total Bellas, then on Fridays, reviewing whatever's on the network, airing after Raw on Monday nights. So I talk about that like last week. We had photo shoot with The Godfather air after Raw on the network on Monday night. Talked about it on Friday. I have no idea what's airing tonight on the network, but I will talk about it this coming Friday. And if nothing new airs on the network this week, then I'll talk about some random episode of Unfiltered or a old WWE 24 special or something along those lines, en route to Money in the Bank this coming weekend. So speaking of which, as I've talked about a million times before, I will be in Chicago for Money in the Bank weekend this coming weekend. I'm going to try to bring my microphone with me. So I'm also going to try. I'm going to be at Money in the Bank, so I can't watch a fucking Total Divas, Total Bellas, whatever. Gonna have to record it or watch it on DVR or whatever. So I'm gonna hopefully watch it when I get back to the hotel that night or the next day. Very likely the next day, and maybe record something before I have to head out to the airport on Monday evening. So if not, it will be up on Tuesday. But nonetheless, guys, thank you for checking out the show. I appreciate it. Have a great week. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.